Okay, here we go now. Working on this Buick Skylark, and the front power windows won't work. The back ones work. So we're going to try to figure out what's going on. Okay, let's try to whip through this. I went online trying to find information and I found it surprisingly hard, so here we are. Let me show you. I printed this off that I found online. A few tips about the wiring on this car, and it tells me what color. It's telling me what color they are for the windows, all the different colors. So I can look over here and transpose that. This is my connector right here, and I see two brown wires right here, so that throws me off right off. But I now know that these different blue wires run the windows up and down on the left and right forward doors. This one turns out to be the power wire, this brown one. This one here says the trigger wire is a light green black, but they say that's can be found down in the down in here where the wires come through to the door. So whatever. So I tried to short across those and nothing's happening inside the door, so that pretty much tells me that you know, we got a problem with the motor. Here's my switch. I pulled it out. You know, it's just these two little clips on the front and the rear that hold it in, so all you got to do is just get in there and use your screwdriver, and you can gently pry this whole thing out. And then you can just unclip these by pulling these tabs apart. Each one of them has a little tab on it there. Alright, so I know that the brown wire right here is 4 prongs over right there. And anyhow, here's what happens when I hold that and hit the switch. It makes a connection. So it tells me at least the switch is working. Something's happening. See, I'm not an expert on this. You need to get schooled on this stuff. There's a special tester you can use to test these things. Evidently what these do here is they switch the polarity. When you want to roll the window up, it switches the ground and the hot polarity in these wires. So it's a pretty complicated little switch here. So next thing's going to be this. Most of you know what's got to be done here. Get the screwdriver out and start prying this door panel off the door. Okay, now most of these door panels are pretty much the same. This one has the lock mechanism right here, and the door handle. These are always a pain in the ass. You got this little thing here which clips onto a rod in behind, and it's hard to get it on and off. Right now I've just got this unclipped. I just took the screwdriver and clipped this part out. And in this case, this door has a screw right here, came out from right down behind there. So pulled that screw out, and then it's a matter of getting this door unclipped, getting the panel unclipped here. So generally you have to be a little forceful with it. Oh, look at this. Alright, I just pulled that off, right? Okay, here's a screw behind this thing. That's why it was on there so forcefully. So let's pull this screw out. So we got that long screw out. Generally what they do, we may have to, they usually clip down across the top up here. Okay, let's come off that end. Looks like we may have to get this one off here and up in the corner here and take care of this. Just 3 clips holding it on. Well, doesn't seem to be doing much. Let's see here. It seems to be hanging up right here. I'm going to push up on it and see if I can. I don't see any other screws anywhere. That just came out. Boy, it's holding that on there. That's all it took. Had to really get after it. All right, now here's the trick. I don't know if we can do this, but I want to try to slide this through and be able to get this panel off of here. I'm not sure if I can do that. I'm not sure how this will work. Getting this thing unclipped from the rod is the problem. What's the easy way? Come on, gearheads. What's the easy way to do it on this Buick Skylark? I'm trying to get it unclipped from the back side back here. Okay, that's what it is, see? Clamps on across the rod, goes right in there and clamps in that little, right in there. It's not that tricky of a deal. God. So now we have this. Alright, once it came off, I was able to pull this loose, and that part stays there. Alright, there we go. The panel is off. Okay, so here we go. You can see I pulled the plastic off. From around here, I took this metal piece off that was right here. This piece to the side, the screws that were holding it on, I just put them right back in. I don't have another motor for this, so these 3 screws, I just screwed them back in for now. And there's the setup. And so here we are. I pulled this loose, took a screwdriver and undid that. And 2 connections, you can see, blue and brown, like we were checking before. So there's just 2 connections going onto this motor right here. It looks like it's held in by rivets, at least 2. I see 2 more rivets down here. That might be part of the regulator. I don't know what all can be replaced here, if the motor by itself or the entire regulator has to come with it. I'm not familiar with these. Let's see if I can find out a little bit more and get back. So maybe it's time for a break. I hope there's a good ad. Watch it if there is. Okay, so I've popped these 2 rivets out here, and you use a 3/16 drill bit, then followed up with a 1/4 inch. It's about a 1/4 inch hole there, and they're kind of a pain in the ass. Drill and then stop, drill some more till you get it all the way through. So you can see this moving around, but of course there's 2 more. So it's going to take the whole mechanism out of here. You have to watch out for this. Sometimes the window can drop when you're trying to do this. So we're going to go ahead and tackle these 2 and go from there. Okay, now we switch to the 1/4 inch drill bit. Okay, this is a bit of a bitch of a job. Alright, number 3 out. Alright, let's get that last one out. Boy, oh boy, what a fight, what a battle. Alright, every one of those rivets, I had to fight them. Pull the screw out of it. Alright, so here we go. Those 4 are out. Now we have to figure out what else we got going on here. I got my hand. Alright, I can see the window starting to move now. Okay, alright, I took this out and dropped everything down, so now I'm trying to hold this window up. I had to take the 2 screws out. There's the track that runs across the bottom of the window, has a screw on either end. It's a nut. Take a little number 10 nuts, take the nuts off, and that grabs out loose. And you take those 2 nuts out, and then that track comes loose with everything else. It's right here now. There it is right there. I got to hold this window up at the same time and see, and I'm trying to fish this whole works out of here now. Let's see if I can get it out through this hole right here somehow or the other. If I had 2 hands, I'm pretty sure it would be coming out. There we go. I'll try to one-hand this thing out of here. It's probably possible. Get hung up on some stuff here. Okay, I got it out, one hand. All right, there's the unit. Now I have to figure out how to hold this window up here. I found a little slot in the door handle right here. I just stuffed the screwdriver right through there. Kind of hold it in like that now. All right, so I'm just looking to see how this is attached. 3 small rivets. 1, 2, 3. Attach this motor to this mechanism. I could see some of those rivets from inside, but I wasn't sure Because I'm just wondering if there was a way to drill these out from the inside. You could drop this motor out and leave all of this intact. Because I didn't have to drill these out in order to get this off of here. Man, that could have been done. God damn it, that could have been done that way. If nothing else, we probably could have drilled access holes to get in here and take these 3 rivets out. Interesting. Because this is a pain in the ass, taking all this stuff out of here. Okay. Alright, is it break time yet? I hope a good ad comes on. Watch the ad if it's something good. I can't choose the ads that they put on here. Okay. We're trying to get out to these rivets right here. That one out yet? I got a drill bit a little bit bigger than a 1/8 inch here. Okay.
So we're putting Bill LS.
There you go, see?
6 combos, nice hotchkiss suspension, and just a lot of good.
Turn my podcast off here. Muscle Car Podcast. Notice how this kind of sprung forward a little bit. That's under a little bit of pressure, a little bit of spring pressure there. Oh, that thing fell off. Alright, see, now I have to figure out how that went on there. This fell off. Alright, let's cut the camera off. Here's our mechanism. 3 rivets hold it in, right here inside the door. Here's the upper track that is along the bottom of the window. And okay, and there we are, down. There we are, up. This one here is the lower track, which is mounted into the door right here, right there. So that's how that works. So my guess is you could probably access these 3 in the door. That way you wouldn't have to take all this apart and have stuff like this falling out of there and so forth. So far it's been quite a journey, and no doubt you bring this to a dealer to have this done, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to cost you hundreds of dollars. So the next question is, what do I do about fixing this? I got no part to put back in it. Go to U-pull it. Better bring drills and everything else if you want to do it that way, or you'd have to bring a battery so you could check them, make sure they're good. These are pretty cheap. You can buy this motor by itself pretty cheap. J.C. Whitney or somebody like that on the internet. I just have to wait for it. So, for now, it's time to wrap this up, put everything away, try to figure out what I'm going to do with this door, how I'm going to jury rig it so I can drive this car until we get a motor. Either grab one or have one sent. Whatever works. Anyway, for now, if it's time for a commercial, I hope it's a decent one. Like I say, I don't have any say on what they put for ads in here, but we make a few pennies off of them, and that's all I can say.
Alrighty then, gearheads. My new motors have arrived here on this windy, rainy spring day here. And I've got 2 of them to put into this here Buick. I discovered a possibility of a way to do this job quicker and easier. So when I do the other door, I may make another vid. If so, I'll stick it right up there. You can click on that link now or afterwards and check out the abbreviated version.
As a sport and a science.
Okay, gearheads, here's the first thing I like to do.
But like most competitive people,
Okay, we're going to test this thing out. I hooked to my battery here. These things operate on reverse polarity. Alright, gents, I've got this thing screwed together. And so I put the 3 little screws in there. Pretty nice little handy little fellas. Nice little washers that grip. Just use a little number 7 socket in the Phillips to put them in there. And maybe you can see where I've topped each one off with a dab of my auto body sealant. I've seen these little screws come apart because they're pretty small. So that's the little trick that I do to keep them together. Alright, let that dry. Okay, so I went ahead and got out some of my red, this is automatic transmission lube. It's really kind of stringy, kind of nice stuff. I'm going to add some to both of these tracks here. It looks like the factory may have used their lube rather sparingly, so I spread it out and added more and worked it in, and these things slide much easier. So that should make things nicer. I want these windows to operate fast. Alright, let's put this thing together and let's try to get it back into the door. We're going to have to, I have to move this gear out of the way so I can get some bolts in the backside and get this thing ready for installation. Okay, I've managed to shove this back into the hole without knocking off those two bolts that I glued and taped into their holes. So now we're going to try to position everything. Alright, so I was able to put it up into place and get those two bolts that I had glued in, stuffed through their rivet holes right here. I got the two nuts on finger tight. Just had to dig into my collection of nuts and bolts, like most of you gearheads should have one of those. And mine are old school, they're all SAE, so I'm using like 1/4 inch bolts and whatever nuts. In fact, these are actually oil pan, little small block Chevy oil pan bolts that I put through here, little short ones. So I got to get two more in here and then get these tracks all lined up and bolted down. Okay, so I've got these in place here, and I'm starting to get my tracks. I had to take and hook this on and get these runners into place here, see? So I still have my window held up here with my tools, and that makes things handy because it's up and out of the way as I get all this figured out and put into position. So I have to bolt this in here and get these hooked to the window track underneath. They slide in and then the nut holds them down tight, if you can see that. And then we'll have an operational window going on here. Alright, so here we are tightening up the final bolt. And so I've got these four tightened down. I put a little dab of my sealer on there. You know, some people might use Loctite, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, it was handy using these little Chevy oil pan bolts because they have those nice little lock washers on them. So they dug in on the back side. I didn't have to fumble around reaching in the back here to hold on to the head of a bolt while I tightened these things down. So that was nice. I tightened down this lower track here, and now it's time to get this. And you can see, you will be able to see how this attaches right through here. Oh, damn it. Is it time for a commercial break yet? I just found this laying down there. I forgot to put it in. It goes in there. Okay, here we go. Alright, thankfully I figured it out. It goes on this slot back in here, slides on there, and there's a lever that moves up when the window comes down. So I had to put it and pry it on there so the spring pressure was against it. So when the window comes down, it pushes against that spring. So that spring helps the window to go back up. So it's held in place by pressure. It just slips into a slot, and you just have to pry it, turn it a little bit to get it in there. Okay, so now it's in. Here, we have to attach the upper window. So let's take a look at this. Right here. There's our attachment. Just need to put a nut on it right there. Front's the same way. Put my finger right there, and we'll just tighten that nut down, and we've got it. Okay, all four mount bolts are tight. All four track bolts are tight. It's all in there. Let's check this out. Let's turn the ignition on. Oh, okay. Well, that goes up real nice and fast. Let's try the auto feature here. Ah, yes. All right, there she goes down. Window down. Right on. Let's get this door panel back together. Okay, here we go. I see we have these two little locating pins here. This one's kind of bent, so I don't know, maybe we can get it to slide in. There's a hole there, hole down here. And so we just need to get everything in place. What we do is we got to feed this through, run this up over the top, and get these clips into those holes there, and clip it down. Let's try this. The window's down, which it should be. All right, I had to reach back in there and get that bent one started into the hole. I think this thing is set. It went on pretty good. This here is going to be interesting. Some of these are pretty tricky, pretty difficult, so we'll figure this one out as we go. Just got to go over the handle. These things are always so much fun. Wow. Well, let's try this. Got a place. Guess what? It seems to be working good. I'm going to call that one good. All right, how'd this thing screw on here? Let's shove these back in. Maybe we'll speed this part up. There's that. Yeah. In. Okay. Okay, let's not forget our little screw that went in here. Remember that one? We'll just take and shove this little thing in there like that. Get those little guys lined up right in there. And then just snap it together. Up we go. One window. Okay. All right, gents, that's it. If I found out the shortcut, I'll be putting it up. Otherwise, feel free to leave a comment. If you got tips, please leave them for others to see. Thanks.